guys and gals. It is Wednesday, and that means it is house tours day today. We are starting a few minutes early because we have a few announcements to make. As usual, this Wednesday we're having maintenance. It is due to start at its usual time, which is 4 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. CET. And it's going to be a short one, it looks like. It's set for approximately 35 minutes expected downtime, so that's a plus, as opposed to the many hours of downtime we had last week. Looks like we have some activity on our housing circle. Hold on a sec. Okay, so aside from the maintenance that we are expecting, I do apologize in advance if you hear any slurping. That's to do with my cough drop. I'm trying to keep my coughing down to a bare minimum if possible. It's been getting a little worse. It's that time of year, so sickies are running rampant, and you guys know me, I'm liable to pick up everything that passes around. So. But in addition to the maintenance, we do have a double XP explosion event this weekend coming up. It's set for the 24th through the 28th. This is a perfect time to level up your building alts. I know a lot of you builders out there are very alt happy. I myself have plenty of my own. And while there are ways to get around, getting access to the housing early and obtaining reputation gains through like the ProtoStar promissory notes, without having to actually level your character, you can just get them over to that thing and use any promissory notes you've collected with your main and unlock some decor that way. But it's always helpful with these XP events that if you don't have a lot of those promissory notes saved up and just want some quick access to like some of the, maybe not the super low level, but like the medium range, like if you're trying to get into like a lot of my alts haven't even made it past level 3, so getting them to like Galeris and stuff is great. That opens up the carrot plushie. There's Far Side if you want to go higher for access to the ProtoStar plushie, those kind of things. So this is a great opportunity to get in on that, open up some decor vendors for your alts. It also gives you access to some of the areas that might have the discoveries and stuff that you can grab, not only for decor but for costume pieces and all that stuff. Thank you for reminding me, Poi. I have that ready, I just forgot to mention it. There's my tweet, it is sent. Thank you very much. And good morning, glad you could join us. I'm kind of postponing starting until sorry, got some people chatting with me here. Okay. So yeah, so that's the maintenance coming and the double XP explosion event to look forward to. Morning, Bones. Glad you could join us. Okay, so today we have two houses that we're going to take a look at. I've narrowed it down to the two because both are pretty heavy with the custom building, and I figured we're going to have a lot to talk about, so I didn't want to feel too pressured about trying to fit in several into a specific amount of time. While usually our regular like off housing tour days go from anywhere between an hour, hour and a half or so, I'm have a more tendency to go a little bit longer on the house tour days, but I didn't want it to go into like 3 or 4 hours. That's a long time. So Thank you for the host. Thank you for the host, Bones. I appreciate it. Okay, so today and I guess it's next week, the 30th, will be the last 2 days that we have just our general tours. Starting in December, I'm hoping to focus mostly, if not entirely, on Winterfest plots. Now, it doesn't have to be specifically Winterfest. It could be Arctera type, as long as it's winter type uh, type of theme, then I'm looking for those. I already have a list of about, I think it's 7 or 8 so far. That'll get us at least through the first couple of weeks of December. So I'm hoping there's going to be some more popping up. I know there are several that are working on plots on the side, kind of privately, in anticipation if Carbine decides to host any kind of a special housing competition for that holiday. But if you know of anyone that's working on one or has one that you would like to see toured, or have one yourself, please do reach out to me. I still do a lot of random touring on my own, but it does get quite time consuming to constantly do that every day. I will be probably looking through some of the ones we did last year because I'm fairly positive there's more of those that are still around. Unlike with the Shades Eve tours, there was lots of those that had closed up or changed completely. So I will be keeping track on that. So yeah, let's get started. We're here on, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Flausch MD. Their plot called Zen Mountain Village. Now, I don't think I've actually toured this one before. I've seen it before, but it's been in different stages of work in progress. So I never actually got around to showing it, which is a good example of why sometimes I go and show houses that aren't actually completed because they often change them, the route that they're going. So let me slow myself down here so we're not rushing through. You can see they're using the snowy hill to cover up the entrance. I think it's the snowy hill. I don't see the root, so I'm pretty sure it's not the upside down massive umbrella tree. Just a simple, they're not doing any kind of elaborate covering. It's just kind of like an outlet to their main place because most of it is boxed in with the obsidian stone. And if we come in down this way, you can see a really nice little shot of the plot from here. See if I can get a good view. You can see their neighbors and such. I myself prefer to turn that option off. I do that for most all of my plots. I just think it's weird because especially sometimes if you're building really high on your plot, this tends to look like you could almost toss a rock on your neighbor's land. So I tend to remove that. But you can see it's still okay if it's showing. But they have changed it quite a bit from the last time I was here, so I'm excited to see what all is actually here, and hope you guys enjoy it too. Zoom back out so I can see where I'm walking. I know a lot of tour guides like to do the first person view, but that kind of makes me a little sick, so I tend not to do that. You can see that they've already incorporated some of those new waterfalls. We've seen some great examples so far of people using those, and this is another one. They basically got the pool here and then the falls coming down from part of the edging that they've got going on in the plot. Most of the lily leaf plants and such come from the same decor pack that the waterfalls come. It also has the flitterflies, which is a nice animation of the little insects that look like dragonflies flittering around. I can't remember what else comes with that. I know it's a lot of grasses and lily leaves, and then the waterfalls themselves and the critters. I think that is the main thing. This looks like a little place where you come, you fish, and then they cook up the fish for you. So it's like catch your own dinner. I love the little fishing poles. I am not completely positive what they're using for the poles themselves. I think this one is the mop handle. You can kind of see it there. But this one here, I'm not sure what that is. I think it's the end of one of the Eldon antennas or something like that. But the ropes are actually from the red balloons. Now, we've shown in the past where the red balloons are heavily affected by the wind on our plots now. They used to not be, but they have been for many months now. And this is one way to kind of utilize that um, animated effect that they have now by, you can see the balloon pop up every now and then, making it look like there's maybe a fish on the end of the line, that kind of thing. I think it's a real clever use of using something that we've kind of steered clear of since that wind has become such an issue. But yeah, I like that idea a lot. The building itself is mostly pillars for the roofing, with the golden arrows for the ends, which is always a trouble. We don't have a lot of varied triangle shapes. We have the basic building block of the triangles, but their angles are a little typically different. The peak of the roof would be too sharp, I think, for most. So this is a perfect um, substitute for those particular building blocks. And of course, the sides are different varieties of the divider walls. A lot of people like the metal ones, the ones that look lit up, especially for Asian-inspired themes, which this one, if I remember right, is kind of like that. I think it was more so in the past, but it still has some of those flavorings a bit. You can see too that they managed to keep their fab kits in here. I believe this is the hot springs one. They've just layered over the waterfall on top of it, so you still see the steam or the smoke coming up from the water from the fab kit itself, but they've just topped it with the other. Just changes it a little bit. It allows people to keep the fab kits that they want. It also reduces the amount of decoration that they have to add to kind of cover up things that you know, rather than having to build all of this bit themselves, it's just kind of insta there, so that's really good. Now we'll be going upstairs in a little bit, but there's a few things we need to see down below. I don't know the story behind this plot, if it's a guild thing or a club kind of thing for some role players or what, but I love these little vehicles that they put together. We visited a biker club, I think it was last week or the week before, and we saw some different variations, and this pair are very similar. I think there's some differences. We saw one in the past using that, I don't know what it's called, like a Kurg rifle or gun or something for the main body, but the difference on this one is they're using one of the hanging lights, the fancy hanging lights, as the headlight instead of the Chua spotlight, I think, which is what was used on the one last time. Um, they've also got, it looks like, yeah, I think it's just that one piece. I don't know if this is part of it or not. I don't really use the weaponry a lot, so I'm not for positive on that. But again, the hanging cables for the handlebars, which is always clever. This one is using that, I think it's the Exile cannon. You can see the end of it here. But they've added on a skinny waisted barrel to kind of cover up part of it. Again, out of the kickstand. So it's very similar to the ones before. It could be it's a shared idea between guildies. I don't know if it's the same builder that built this plot as the other one. It's really hard for me to keep track of alts and things like that, so I apologize if it's actually the same person, but I still like the idea. And here we have a little bit of a, I think of it as like a little Jeep. It's basically the garage-themed dresser, the open version here, and Chua spotlights, I believe, for the headlights. and then a Chua couch for the seating, a hover park piece for the bottom, and then a Chua desk combined with the control panels and levers for the gear shift and everything like that. And then the back part with the little animated like engine bit is the mounted wall generator. Then over here, they've added a helipad with a helicopter that they built. Um, Not surprising that they use the windmill decor piece. It's animated, so it's it's not just for windmills. I've seen people use them for fans inside their houses. I've seen a few use them for like the blender blades inside some of their kitchen appliances. Um, Giant like warehouse fans inside some tubing to make it look like combines of some sort. But you can see they've used them here for the blades not only at the top but on the tail as well. The main part of the helicopter is, I believe it's the Exiles version of the cryopod. It's the one that we can get, but the Dominion can't, just like theirs is the one that looks like a door because it's a little bit more flat. They're also using some of the Solfrost piping for the landing gear there. Added in a little control panel for the mechanical part. You've got one of those new Dominion shields for the little cockpit cover. And I believe that's a Cassian lamp for the tail. So I think that's pretty nice. And of course, 2x4s for the big letter H for the little helipad. Let's go this way. Yeah, I didn't really want to mention those because it's like I'm pointing out the flaws. But yeah, for me personally, I probably would have moved it a little bit just to make sure that it didn't clash with the stone there. But yeah, with the blades going into the rock, it kind of kills it a little bit, but not too terribly bad. So this is another example of them having a particular fab kit in place, and they've just incorporated it into their build. So this is the I believe it's the banking fab kit, the storage fab kit, I think it's called. They still have access to it by leaving part of it visible, but they've just decorated over it. So they've got all of these different chests and cabinets in place to make it look like a secure storage facility, and then covered it with a matching building structure like they did for the little fishing hut. So again, while you can, a lot of the fab kits don't really match a particular theme, you can make it or change it up enough to have it fit if you want to keep the functionality of a lot of them. The cosmetics ones, those are a little bit more, you pick it because it matches your theme typically. But those that you really want to keep in, or like the banking one, or like a portal, like a biome portal or something. But also those that have special types of decorative appearances, like the water related ones. A lot of people like the kiddie pool. They don't like the look of it, but they like the water because it's more like a still pond kind of thing, and they'll build completely all around it and just have the water left showing, and it works really great. And so it's always nice to see different approaches to that. And I think there's a walkway around here somewhere. I see the bridge up there. Maybe it's accessed from a different part. I just don't want to miss anything. All right, Bones, we'll see you in a little bit. So here we have a symbol. It shows like you going into a bar scene. Got a little entry pad here. And I love the doors. It's a couple of suitcases covering a tunnel, and they've got one left open. They could, if you are strict about who gets to have access to a certain area, if it's a specific role play kind of thing or only for guild events or something, you can always close it up and just open it when it's time for one of those events. But this one allows anybody to come in since they leave it completely open. It's an alternative to using functional doors, because in the past we've had troubles with some of the working doors actually becoming like unclickable. It either takes you logging back out and in, or maybe the owner having to come in and reset everything, just move it slightly to get it to reset, something like that. So myself, and I think there's one or two other builders that kind of steer clear of using functioning doors most of the time. It's not that I completely do without them. I do use them sometimes, but if it's in a place where I want to make sure people can get in, I tend not to use them, because there has been times when they don't work like they're supposed to. But this little path leads us to the bunker house, and that's where you come upon their little underground club type of place. We have their little aquarium scene. This is an example of one of the Ichthian tanks. Notice how bright it is. That is or can be affected by the lighting within the room that you place it, especially if it's in an interior room like this. I think it's the darker the setting, the lighter it becomes. So it's not, and the brighter the setting of the lighting, the more opaque it appears. I had this first-hand experience with this when I was building a plot for a former guildmate. I was trying to put stuff inside it, and I couldn't see anything because the lighting was too bright. And we discovered that if you adjust that a bit, you can have it so you can actually see what's inside there. And that's why this is somewhat visible at times and not. It's because somehow it's affected, the opacity is affected by the lighting. So keep that in mind if you plan to use these particular ones. But you can see they've got plushies in there. If you're doing an aquarium type build, again, aim for plants and such that have a movement that helps feed the idea that there's churning water inside there, rather than having everything stone still. It doesn't mean you can't use it that way. It just lends itself better to the idea that there's water inside the tank. And welcome back, Bones. That was awfully fast. What did you get? Gonna make me hungry because I haven't eaten yet myself. Okay, so then we have this kind of like a terrarium type of thing. It's a great way to show plants, especially if you have a particular themed plot, but you have plants that don't necessarily match that theme. This is a good way of being able to use them, even if they don't work with like the exterior or some such. It's especially true like if you have a lot of desert plants, yet you have a jungle theme. This is a way to be able to get those in there, say, well, they collected them and put them in a little pot of some sort. So here you can see you've got the bar is kind of like the central thing of this particular room in the downstairs, and then you have all of these little booths that visitors can hook up with their friends, share a drink, read a book, tell some stories, that kind of stuff. The tables themselves are just hover park pieces. I don't know the particular name. There's like over 90 pieces, and I don't keep track of all of them. But if you run through them, I'm sure you'll find the piece. It looks like a single one, probably one of the ramp pieces. But it's nice how it's got this little inset for whoever might be at the end, where they have leg room, but it looks like it's straight built into the wall. The terrarium here is basically just glass and 2x4s and hover park pieces for the top. It's also doing double duty as shelving for some of their collectibles, which is good. The fireplace here, we've seen this style of fireplace in several different builds. It's always a really classy looking one. I think most of us tend to avoid the prefab fireplaces. Even if we use them, we end up covering up the outside of them. We just keep the fire part. But this is a real classy looking one. It's great for winter cabins, personal residences, restaurant scenes, that kind of thing. It's just some, this one's a cylinder, which is the hollow one, while this one is the, I think this is the, yeah, this is the hollow one, this is the solid one. Then you got the curved glass, pairing it up with a campfire. Bun with some cheese. Well, I'd still take that. Okay, the bar in the center, and I'm going to be real rude and walk on the countertop here, is mostly hover part pieces. Again, I think a lot of it is edge type pieces, but I can't be for sure. Some of it is actually the flat floors that you can get. But I like how they've inset these little parts here where that's actually the workstations, and then the other part is raised up a bit. It's just a nice little design. The center part, look at all the bottles they've put out. These are all individually placed. It's just nuts. But it just shows you how when you're working with the interior builds, how you can really go crazy with little details like this. But the tiered effect is just multiple sections of metal-edged wood pieces. I think it's the staircase landings, just stacked, like 4 or 5 high, and then just repeated to make the little tiered effect. But it's really nice. We do have the Red Moon decor set that you can get that has like a fully stocked rotating round kind of a bar, but I think this works better because it goes with the straight edges of the little building part that they put in here. 2x4s up here, using some fence pieces to add some accents in the corners. And the pieces that they used here allows for storage underneath. So there's a lot of detail here. Just like the little fridge here where the chilled drinks are. Those are just bookcases, and they filled it up with all of these items here. Over here is their custom wine rack. I love this. We've seen a lot of variations. I mean, it's all typically kind of like a lattice build, but just in different shapes. Usually it's just a square section on a wall, or part of the what do you call it? The bar itself. They just have a section of it that way. This one's interesting because it's a triangle basically. So it's just some 2x4s trimming the glass panel here, which is basically set into the floor. And then a lot of 2x4s making all these little slotted bits. And I like that they've added a little handle, so it's in your imagination that would swing out and give them access to the wine bottles. That one looks a little misplaced there. Back here, we have a little bit of storage. Don't know if I can meander my way all the way back. It's one way to just dump off some things that you have or want to show off but don't necessarily have it match what is going on elsewhere. It's a great place for plushie collections too if you don't have a special showcase area for that. This is the rest of the booths. Again, this type of thing, like with a club or a guild hall or something, showing the pictures and other collectibles, it helps dress up the walls and the shelves and such, and gives you an opportunity to show off things. You know, maybe they got this particular item, doesn't have any other matching decor to go with it, but it works as a decorative thing on the wall there. Okay, for the sign, the party sign, these are the detonators. It's the one, it looks like a little walkie-talkie part, and it's got the little antenna and then the blinky light on top. It's the same thing that we've seen used for other like spaceports where they have like hangar 1 or 2 or something. Others have used them to identify the different restroom areas, if it's for women or men. I used it for my bakery plot for the word bakery. But yeah, as I said, when you're placing them, when you're first putting them together for your sign or whatever it is you're using them for, they will blink out of sync. But once you leave the plot and come back, then they will blink in unison like this. So keep that in mind. It's not like you can time them or anything like that. Faux door, again, leaving it open so people have access to it, but given the illusion that it could be closed and blocked off. It's just one of the hover part pieces with a hammer for the handle. This leads you to the public restroom. So you have your washing area for your hands, and then your different stalls. And again, it's like with cabinets in your kitchen or storage lockers or something. It's always fun to have some of them closed, some of them open, because everybody's going to be curious, what does it look like inside? And this gives you an opportunity to kind of show what it would be, but not have to do it for every single one. Although they did. You can see that they did it for every single one of them. Basically, it's just one of those ornate cabinets with one of the Flush-O-Matic 5000, I think it's what it's called. They've got like papers and graffiti on the walls. And then I guess these are supposed to be the urinals. I'm not really sure about that. If we go upstairs, we come to the dance floor, which they have very brightly lit and decorated, so it looks very lively and hoppin'. This is, again, a great place to use those dancing NPCs that we gained access to fairly recently. Some of the effects are the 3 ones with the blinking light. That's the blue flares. A lot of us have used that for refrigerated areas, showers, smoke coming off of like a chimney for a house or vehicle exhausts, that kind of thing. The spinny thing here with the 2 blades, I think that's the FreeBot surge protector, if I remember right. It's just a really long, tall column, and at the end it's got those 2 panels and a little bit of electricity running through the center. A lot of people like that in their labs, their mad labs kind of thing. The part that's kind of golden, that has like the sparklies coming down, I want to say it's one of the animated ends of one of the guns or cannons, but I'm not for positive on that. I think these panels are part of it too. Of course, the red like diagrammed ceiling, that's the Dominion scanner, I believe. Yeah, that would be creepy. Bones, only you would think of that. They do have some red lighting here, but it doesn't really show up very well with the spotlight. Excuse me. One thing I know some people have enjoyed is those animated multicolored panels. It's kind of like the menu scanner, but without the framework. And they've used them as the floor to make it look really like a disco. It's like all those different colors in there.
Loyalty weighs as much as the gold that buys it.
So that is the underground bar or clubhouse or some kind of thing. I don't really know if it's just for anybody or if it's supposed to be guild. A lot of these plots are guild related, so it's hard to tell. Okay, I hope I got everything down below. So we're going to head up above now. Notice the mailbox here. It's inset to one of those key windows. I think it's the Chua version, and they've just inset it in there. It works really nice. It looks like they've also got that, I don't know what it's called. It's one of those statues. It's like, I'm not even sure what the statue is. I never really could make it out completely, but they've got that covering at the bottom part to kind of box it in. I love having, finding other people that kind of like to cover up their mailboxes, because I do that all the time. It's not that I have anything against the mailboxes as they come, but typically they don't match what I've put together, so I like to change them up. So you'll see how they've built up this landscape type of thing, and they've added this little wooden path all the way around. It's a combination of decking pieces, including the stairs and railing, and then like the staircase landings to kind of finish off each little section. They've got most of the stones are obsidian rocks of some kind, either just the blocks or the actual donut one. You can see they got a lot of variety of plants. We've got the weeping willows, there's pine trees, lots of overgrowth, even some algarock trees and such. And then they've got little spots of plants and grasses to help keep it lively looking. It doesn't look too blank or bare. Here's a good shot of what's up above. You can see there's lots of little huts, and they all match the similar building pattern that we saw below with like the fishing hut and the bank storage. But here's like a good example of some of the Asian influence. I forget what this is called, but it's one of those little gate things that you see a lot. Just made out of some granite pillars. Going ahead and finish off my cough drop so I don't swallow it accidentally. So this one here is the little steam room, sauna type thing. They've got the Osun vent. That's a fave. They've also got a regular stove with the stones inside it to make it look like it's heated up, with some of the water buckets and such. A really simple kind of bench for it. It's just some 2x4s, but it's cute, effective, fits really nice with the space. The lamp here is the garage themed one. I like this one because it has those little special effects on the light. It's not a solid stream, it's like broken up because of the holes that it's shining through. And of course they give the illusion that there's a sliding glass door that's opened and that you could close if necessary. Excuse me. Same way here, these are some faux doors. It almost looks like barn doors because of the way they've put the wood on, but it's basically some exile floors with the 2x4s strapped
Loyalty
on to
weighs as
just kind
much
of
as the gold that buys it.
fortify it a little bit. But it looks like it'd be great for some barn doors if you wanted to build a farm or like a ranch, horse ranch or something. Most of the construction of the main building is, again, very similar to the smaller ones. It's using the pillars, a lot of glass, a lot of 2x4s. I don't know if this is particularly like a club, like a fitness club, like a spa kind of thing. You'll see what I'm talking about as we move along through here, but that's what I suspect it's supposed to be, a place where you would come, you could get access to the sauna, to the bar, and to the other things that we're going to see very shortly here. This seems to be like the check-in desk. You get your little gym
Serious? Of course
outfit
I'm never serious.
and
I'm
access
just trying
to
to assure
some
you.
lockers to store your personal wares. The locker itself is one of my favorite pieces, the travel poster with bottles for the handles. Notice they opted to leave them all closed. It's very easily, they could have set it up so they'd open one and you could see inside it if it's got some shelves or some hanging clothes or something. But they did add some different kind of clothing items to kind of indicate that that's what this is. It's like a little closet space. Here we have a vending machine that they made. It's a combination of the staircase landing for the top, for the sides and back. It's the travel posters again, same thing that they use for the locker. They got a hanging cable for the little plug-in, and the front is really cleverly done. They've made it just like an actual vending machine. You've got like the advertisement kind of style picture going on with the different drinks that are available. So they're using the warning poster as the main picture, the Protostar warning poster. Then just threw on some bottles as representative of what's inside. They're using a silver, the metal table, flat metal table for the little dispenser part where the drink would come out, and then travel posters for the little buttons that you would push to select which drink you want. And then, of course, accented it with those new Red Moon lights. Really clever little build. I like that a lot. It's a lot better than the one I did, I think. Okay, here we have, I think this is the restrooms. It could be the changing rooms. Actually, I think it's also showers. Yeah, it looks like he's taking a shower. This is one of the, I think it's one of the new yeah, zombie NPCs taking a bath. They're using the frozen lake as the pooled water at the bottom, and of course the red moon vent for the drain. The shower head is, it looks like one of the microphones. Yeah, it's like the bottom of it. And then they've got the waterfall coming out. So for the doors, those are the windows. The windows get used for everything but windows typically. I think that's one of the funny things about that particular item. Hammers for the handles again. For the countertop, it looks to be books, yellow books for the top, and can't quite tell. It's a little dark here, so I'm not sure what's being used for the bottom. But bottles for the handles, water troughs for the sink, and then of course hammers again for the faucets themselves. Really cute little idea. I like the bathroom. Notice there's a Winterfest thing here being used for the lamp. They've got that throughout, I think. Over here is a good view of where we come up. good view of the source of the waterfall from above. This little thing, I call it kind of like a gazebo type of thing. You know, not all gazebos have to be round. It's just some kind of pavilion type of thing. Um, Maybe it's where they come and do like a little fashion show for the outfits that they use here. I have no idea. But that's what it kind of looks like. It's like a small little catwalk here where they come and twirl around the pole and the judges line up and say, okay, yay or nay. But it's mostly 2x4s, metal-edged bits. You've got the Cassian or Dominion lamp post. It also gives that little bit of red light, I think. The roof is decking pieces, and of course the granite pillars for the supports. And this is one of the stones. I don't use this one a lot myself, and I think it's just out of laziness going to Starcom Basin to grab them. But they're great for landscaping. It looks really nice. Here we have a little swing. We've seen this before in other builds. Just a couple of chains, 2x4, very simple. We have seen some use benches so that people can actually sit on the swing, but this is just as nice. It's fun, cute looking. Hey Siskwe, glad you could join. Glad you made it. We haven't made it to Ara's place yet, but we'll get there. So here's another building. This is more like, this reminds me of like a greenhouse type of thing. I'm not sure why. It might be just because of the greenery that's inside it. But notice how they've changed up just a little bit. They're using more of the metal-edged dividers, so it looks even more brightly lit up. And they even have some put down a little bit to just trim it so that you have some little clear glass to look through. So if we go inside, then you see it's, again, it's reminiscent of like a little garden. And what it is it looks like they're building a little miniature of the plot. See how they've put together the same little pathway and stuff? It looks like they're in the process of putting it together. So you see they've got the crane carrying the trees and such, got the parts for some of the pathways, the little walkways and such. How adorbs is this? But it looks like a little mini copy of this. Maybe this is how they plan what it's going to look like, or they just wanted to build a little mini version. But I think that's adorbs. But I like the little system here that they got for the little crane. So it looks like it's set on chains, so it moves back and forth. Be great for like a little film studio. I could see this easily being, this idea being used for like setting up, you know how a lot of movies are, you know, actually filmed like little miniatures of the landscape or something, and then they come in with the camera and it makes it look like it's really huge on the big screen. That's what this reminds me of. Again, using an upside down snowy hill for this little greenery part. Again, it mimics whatever the ground is below, so you can use it at any elevation and still get some grasses and such. That's how people make these amazing multi-level landscaped areas. Oh, poor Siskwe. Well, I apologize. I know my hours are like awful for many people, but it's just a great time for me to stream, so I thank you for bearing through it. I think it's also funny that even if you shrink these little drillers or diggers or whatever they're called down, they still have this huge animation. It would be nice if that animation shrunk with them, but it's really funny. Trying to see, yeah, they got like all the different parts putting together. It's like the little tool table. The water tank, of course, is one of the Ichthian ones, and they just hooked up the garden hose to it. It's a cute little thing. Oops. Okay, if we move across, then we come to the next building, and this brings you to the bowling alley. We've seen several versions of this as well, and it's always fun. Again, it's just like the toilets for the bathrooms. It's the same concept. You know, it's not like they've thought of anything particularly new, but the way they have approached it, the way they've built it, the pieces that they've used, that's very individualized. We saw the one that was, I think it was the last one we saw was during Shades Eve. They had that spooky bowling alley, and this one's just as fantastic. Completely different parts, doesn't have any kind of spooky feel at all, but you know what it is when you look at it. So they've repeated the vending machine that they had earlier. So they brought it over here. Again, using KBT, the CATIA Builders Toolkit add-on, makes it really quick and easy to replicate little items like this. If you know you're going to be having it in many places, you save the set and then you can just place and move it around wherever you want to multiple times. It's great for furniture as well. The bench here is just 2x4s, then using domes for the tables. The alleys themselves are hover part pieces, trimmed with curved walls, I believe, Cassian version, for the gutters or the alley like lining part. For the ball holder or whatever you want to call it, it's mostly, it looks like cylinders or tubes with some hollow domes and then curved walls. So like you bowl and the ball gets sucked up into the tube and it spits it out here for you to use. And they're just using domes pressed together to make the ball. Some use the sporty sphere. I've seen a few use the bottoms of the tall files. Those work good for balls. There's also the Protostar, I think it's just called the bomb. There's like two of those, but one is directly available on the housing vendor. The other one I think is a little harder to get a hold of. But if you turn it upside down, you can put the little sticky out part underneath and you just see the round part. It's also great for ornaments for your holiday tree if you're planning to make one for Winterfest. You know, most people think of ornaments, they think of the little round decorated balls. So not only bowling balls, people, but also ornaments and stuff. The scoreboards are, of course, the Dominion screens. The pins are the short files with the little, I don't know, the little sweeper thing that comes down and pushes off any that you missed. That's just hanging chains and 2x4s. The actual alley little area bits, those are, I believe it's the cellar entrances for that. I think they're just kind of turned upside down. The in-betweens look like travel posters just to kind of box it in a little bit neater. But yeah, it's again amazing that people can come up with such different ways to represent the same idea but make it unique enough to their own. If you're wondering about this bit here, the green movie glowy part, that's one of those panels. I think it's the Eldon one. It used to be available on the housing vendor straight up. But now it's part of a decor pack with all those different screens. I've seen people use them for television bits, doorways, or like at spaceports for like indicating this is where you get like defumigated or something. Um, all sorts of things. Yeah, it is. It's really nice. I especially love this part, I think. It's very clean and, uh, I mean, simple enough that anybody could probably make one similar to it, but still, I think there was a lot of thought that went into how to put the pieces together to make it look like it's, what it's supposed to represent. Let's just follow the path here. Again, good shots of the buildings. Because the buildings, I know it might look like a very simple design, but trust me, if you've done any kind of building at all, you know what a pain it is to make arched roofs like that and have it look nice. And using the pillars is a great way of getting around that. And this use of the golden arrow is perfect for that particular build. Here we have a little bit of an arched bridge. They even went through the trouble of adding the supports to kind of hold it up. It's just pillars with the decking pieces for the bridge. This gives you, again, a nice view of basically the whole plot. It's really pretty. Whenever I have to take screenshots of a particular plot, finding little places like this where you could really get a good, normally I would like probably try to hop on the railing here, and then I'd zoom in and just look around for the best shot. Obviously, you'd get rid of all your bits there, but I love that people, if you can find ways to kind of showcase the best, because again, when it comes to like carbines competitions, a lot of times they're basing it off of screenshots alone, and so it becomes real important to make sure, when you go to your plot that you're building, go as if you're a visitor yourself. Is there a real big impact on the scene that you see when you first enter? Then you want to get a shot of that. If there isn't one, then find a place on your plot where you can make one. Even if that means you have to like add a temporary staircase to be able to get the shot you need or you want. That's my advice anyway. Here we come to another little side building. Again, that's the main one we were in. And then the bowling alley's there, and that little garden area mini plot thing is over there. This one is like set up as a private residence. You've got the bedroom straight up. It's a really cute little bed. It's just some pillars, lots of the yellow pillows for the mattress part. Different kind of pillar just to make it look like it's a little decorated. Using one of those purple rock arches for like the little, not quite like a plant pot, but similar. And then they've got this nice little luxury bathroom. The toilet, again, it's one of my favorite things to look at to see how people put together. This is definitely a different style than I've seen before. It's basically one of the hollow tubes with a plate inset. Oh, actually, I think that's a bowl. And then they've got a frying pan, it looks like, as the lid kind of thing. And then they're using the little air conditioner contraption with a hanging chain to make it look like that's the flusher for the toilet. But I swear that's the first time I've seen a frying pan used for that. Over here we have a washing machine. It's basically just a crate with an ergonomics keyboard on top. And I think it's the Osun drum. That's what's got that little rhythmic like animation. I don't know if it makes a sound as well, but that's what it is. It's also, I think, got the round um, blue light lounge drinking table overset it to give that extra little watery animation there. The tub is basically arches trimmed with 2x4s using the winding rivers for the water. The smoke could be one of the smokes from the smoke decor pack straight from the cash shop. I don't have my sound on, so I don't know, but if you hear any kind of bubbling noise, that's probably a cauldron, either the bubbling skeech one or the witch's brew. Hey, Ara, good morning. I'm glad you could join. We haven't gotten to yours yet, but soon, very soon. So take your time waking up. For the little water faucet type of thing, that's just the Chewa tank with a waterfall coming out. The sink is, again, one of those ornate cabinets, same thing that they use for the banking stuff and the other place used for the restrooms. A little medical dispenser for, I don't know, maybe it's hairspray or something. I like the trash can. It's even got a little push bit down there. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a book to me, for the little push thing to flip the lid open. And it's basically a dome with a cylinder and probably another dome underneath to make the bottom solid. And of course, we see remnants of the summer decor pack. You get the drink from that, the little Barbie. They've added some things on there, I think. I don't think it comes with the food and stuff and the pots. Oh, you guys. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. I don't think this one has any like little secret paths or anything. Here we come to a little smaller building. Looks like another sauna type steam room. Again, similar to the other one, but just a little bit more compact, I think. Again, using the blue flares for the smoke and then that Osun vent for the little fiery part where you'd have the coals or whatever. Wow, my stomach is just going nuts. That's what I get for not having a breakfast. Let's see, let's go back up to the main thing. Now, you can see here, this is part of one of the new waterfalls, and that's one of the old ones, I think. So I like how they're still using them kind of in combo with each other. Not completely putting it to waste. So this is back where we kind of started on the main building, but we didn't go into this part of it. And this is probably the big feature on this one. It's the swimming pool area. Very nice and clean and neatly done. You've got, it looks to be, I want to say either it's one of the new waterfalls, because it's got that nice little animation going, and then they've put some glass underneath it, or they're actually using one of the upside down like chalice or something to give it a little bit of a depth here so that you actually feel like you're kind of swimming but not. It's like not super deep, but it saves you from actually going beneath the water and then seeing how, you know, fake it looks. This kind of keeps the illusion in place. So this is where they got the summer beach balls. Again, it's part of the summer decor pack. Most of it is Cassian floors for the interior of the pool, and then Oran ones to kind of be the lining around the edges. It's also being used for the diving boards, which is, it looks like an upside down trophy cabinet, two of those to make the higher one with the floors extended out for the boards. Over here we have, it's like the gauge for the water depth, I think. It looks like a white picket fence being used for that. And it looks like one of those from the spring decor pack because all of the fence pieces are nice and straight and clean. You got the lifeguard little perch here. It's a couple of ladders. Well, one ladder and then some chains. Staircase landings for the different tiers. And then, of course, a marauder chair up top for him to sit on. Over here towards, I guess, it's not necessarily the more shallow end, but where people, maybe they don't want to dive right in, they just want to kind of walk in. They're using pillars for the railing, the Draken version, and then just a nice assembly of the casting walls to make these steps. It's a really nice looking pool. I mean, we've seen a variety of some. I think we've even done an old guild related swimming pool CBDC at one time. Had some nice results, but this is definitely a clean one. It looks big, welcoming, perfect for this type of setting as it being like a little recreational club kind of thing. Again, using those new red moon lamps for the lighting. You might notice too the little terrarium biome kind of little things going on here. There's a winter version on this side, and on this side is more of a deserty Exonite type version. Using different color glass. This is red and that one's the blue. Kind of helps with the themes as well. So you have a hot, cold type of bit going on. Again, frozen lake for the little spilled water. A lot of folks like to use that. Great use of lots of windows and stuff. It really helps just give some extra little sneak peeks into the house, to the building. And again, a lot of water features on this plot. There's all kinds of little bits. Yeah, it's probably a combination because I don't think the waterfalls themselves are solid. I think you can hop right through them. So I suspect they put something underneath to make it so that you don't sink all the way in. And then that leads to, I want to say this is the final building. I'm not for positive on that, but this looks to be the repair shop. Maybe it's for, well, you see the little rocket ship here. So maybe it's just them building that, but it kind of reminded me of like a repair shop where maybe they were putting together some of the other parts that would go on the other bits of the plot. But it's a strange little thing. I don't know what exactly they're rocketing off to, but you can see it's the metal planks for this little crisscross bit, wire fences for the little cage thing, and then this little rocket contraption. It's like spaceship parts. There's the cryo tube thing. It's similar to the helicopter outside with the little cap on the top. I don't know where they're slingshotting themselves off to, but Maybe it's how they get rid of disruptive guests or something. Just stick them in the rocket and send them out to space. But I like how they even have it so that it's nice and open. Got the hover part pieces for the doors and the chains. Notice this roof is pretty different to the other ones. The other ones were using wooden pillars. This one's all calcium pillars. A little bit more fortified there. A strange little contraption. I don't know. I see something over there. I'm going to have to go look. I don't want to miss anything. I'm not sure how to get to there, though. Just keep going around, I guess. Go back this way. Maybe it just looks different from this direction, but I think I missed something over here. But I think this plot, even if it's not a particular theme that everybody wants to do, I think there's enough parts. I mean, if you're looking for like an amusement park type build, having a bowling alley would be a great addition. If you're looking for a summer build, the swimming pool is great. Here we go. Looks like they've built a little outdoor chess set here. Again, these elevations are those snowy hills. They're awesome for these multi-level landscaping bits. Wow, I think it's a great way to showcase their collection of Macari decor. And I don't know, this is a mixture of a variety of ones. Some of the new NPCs. I don't know, maybe they come and play chess with some guildmates or something, but it looks like just the board itself is one large exile floor, and then to make all of the little sections rather than putting all these individually in, they just layered in the white ones. So it looks like there's brown squares, but it's really just one piece underneath. Hey Aurora, good morning. Glad you could join. Again, you can see they're still using some of the old waterfalls. I suspect a lot of folks kind of probably left what they originally built with the old waterfalls and just build some new things for the new versions, because if you try to replace the old with the new straight up, you'll have to do a lot of rearranging of your rocks and things because they're just not situated the same. Whoops. See how they got that color to be blue? I was curious. That's those panels. I want to say it's the tactical tables, exile tactical tables, and that's how it gives it a blue. It turns off the animation if you layer it with the water. That's interesting to know. So if you want a nice blue pool of water for your tub or a pond or something, but you don't want like the grass just showing through, that's the clever way of doing it. Just layer in the exile tactical table and then put the water on top of it, so then you got a nice blue. You'll have to be careful about making sure you don't leave gaps like that, but what a clever use of decor there. See, we're always learning some new tricks. That's what I love about these tours. You never know what you're going to discover. Notice here too, they've added in some of that blue crystal stuff to kind of help, again, just show some watercolors. So I think that's it for Flausch's place. I hope we've hit everything. If not, I do apologize. I do my best to try and hit every little nook and cranny, but there have been times when I have missed a few. Yeah, see, this is a combination of the old and the new to get that nice, pretty blue water effect. Okay, so that's the Zen Mountain Village, and now we are off to Ara's place. So let me make sure I spell this right. Arabesque macadamia. I always want to say macadamia, like macadamia nut.